Another banger, bro. Another banger. They did it again. This episode of Mushoku Tensei felt almost like a direct response to all of my complaints last week about pacing, about atmosphere, about just taking the time to flesh out this story without needing to rush from plot point to plot point. And in the case of this episode's contents, it better have, because we spend the better half of the entire episode just locked in this prison with Rudius, wondering where his friends are and what he should even do in this situation. Should he just escape? He's powerful enough to, but how will he find Eris and Ruijerd? How will that affect Ruijerd's reputation? So you just have Rudius sitting in this cage for an entire week, and I loved every second of it. Hello everybody, I am Phenom Sage, and welcome back to another Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation review. Today we will be talking about episode 14, No Such Thing as a Free Lunch. And that title is kind of interesting. I'm not sure if that's just a play on Rudius's joke about how the prison was a free lodging, but it feels like there might be a little bit more to that. Regardless, before we get into this week's episode, which, despite half of it taking place entirely within a prison, there's a surprising amount that I want to talk about. But before we even get into that stuff, there's one thing I wanted to mention from last week's episode that was brought to my attention. I can't say that it even occurred to me while watching the episode, so shout out to the observant watchers out there, shout out to the source readers for mentioning source material stuff that was actually relevant and not blatant spoilers for the future of the series. Apparently, those party members that we see with Roxy in those brief memory sequences, those flashbacks, two of those characters are characters from part 1 of the show. Remember Horse Guy? Remember Nokupara during that Demon City plotline? Remember that pig guy that just got absolutely destroyed by the snake in the petrified forest? That's them. And I don't know if I'm just immensely racist for just naturally assuming that those were some other horse and pig guys, but the fact that they are related to Roxy in some way is pretty interesting, even though I don't think that's ever going to come back in the story at any point again. Maybe that's just something you have to read the Roxy spinoff for. There is that human guy that we still don't know about. But either way, it's definitely an interesting thing to note, even if it doesn't end up being important. Let's get into this episode though, man, because like I said before, the pacing is just so much better this week than it was last week, in my opinion. It's nice to enter a new location and just stick there for a little bit while plot lines are developing in the background. And that's one thing that I loved about this episode, and just this series as a whole, is the way we almost always stick purely to Rudius's POV. Very rarely do we see what's going on outside of his perspective, more on that later. And it really adds to that sense of scale and mystery and adventure and surprise when our point of view is grounded in a way where we can't always see the big picture. And that ties into how about halfway through the episode, the Beast Village is getting attacked. We don't know why, we don't know what is going on, and that makes it more exciting. That attack though, and just the second half in general, is where most of the stuff I want to talk about actually is. But before we even get into that, I know I keep saying this, but I just want to say a new best boy has arrived into the series. Sorry Ruijerd, your time in the sun was brief, but Geese has arrived and he is the absolute best. I loved him so much this episode. I loved his interactions with Rudius, the way he goes along with the seniority complex, the fact that he was actually pretty heroic. He stuck around to help these people, to help Rudius. He was just so good. I love this guy. Throughout the entire episode, I'm not even lying, I was so tense just saying, please don't kill Geese, please don't kill Geese, and I'm happy that he did end up sticking around to the very end. Is he leaving next episode? Yeah, probably. He wasn't even in that final scene, so maybe he's already gone, but man, he will be missed, because it was nice to just have this pure, heroic, charismatic side character helping Rudius out. The attack in general ended up being one of my favorite sequences of this part so far because of how well it made you root for Rudius to end up destroying these guys. They really showed that brutality aspect in a way that was impactful, and obviously it was sick seeing Rudius kick ass, seeing him use magic to fight and help everyone out. It's kind of surprising how little of that there's been in the series up to this point, but what I really liked about Rudius during all of this is when he's eventually given an ultimatum. He's pit against this guy who is much stronger than him and much stronger than everybody else there, in a way where Rudius thinks to himself, yeah, I'm not gonna risk my life for a bunch of strangers I don't even know. And yet when he hears the suffering of this beast girl when a chance arrives, he takes it immediately without even thinking about it and then settles afterwards saying, well, it's too late now. It's just really well done character writing where you see that logical part of his brain, the part of his brain that we've seen rationalizing everything over the course of the entire series so far, and then in the end, it still gets beaten by his own personal feelings and his instinct. It's almost like the exact opposite of what happened during episode 11, when Rudius was trying to be logical and wait as long as possible before rescuing those young adventurers, and it ended up backfiring in his face. It's a great heroic moment for his character, which makes him even more likable, and especially at the end of the episode when the chief is just thanking him from the bottom of his heart, and those little piano keys come in and Rudius doesn't even know how to respond. I loved all of it, man. Just really great character moments this episode that elevated everything else. Either way, this entire plotline is just a continuation of the beast smuggling that we saw last episode, and all I have to say about this is I told you guys that Philip and Saros were not good people. I was going to mention this regardless as soon as they mentioned how nobles with freak fetishes were buying these slaves, but Rudius even comes out and says, no way. No, it couldn't be. And it totally is. There were people who were legitimately telling me that Philip's obsession with beast people was just an innocent love. He didn't mean anything by it. But now it's pretty blatantly implied that he's buying these slaves that were kidnapped from their villages off of the black market to serve him. And we see Saros using one for his own personal pleasure. I don't know, man, that doesn't seem ethical or innocent or kind-hearted in any capacity. It almost makes me wonder why Ghislaine of all people, a beast person herself, would work for these people if she was aware that they were buying these slaves that were kidnapped from a beast village. Luckily, or maybe not so luckily, Saros at least has gotten his karma because at the end of the episode, we have a very rare scene where the POV switches to a completely unrelated perspective, and we see what I assume are other higher tier members of the Grey Rat family who are executing Saros for handling the Mana disaster very poorly. And every time we see a new POV in this series, there's always a ridiculous amount to speculate and predict about, so that's exactly what I'm here to do right now. In episode 8 of part 1, the very last episode before the turning point, we heard about a power struggle within the Grey Rat family, something about the Notos family being led by Paul's brother, and how Philip wanted to stage a coup to get him out of there. If I may be so bold, if I may be so wild in my predictions right now, I would say that all of this is a direct counter to that. Saros' region now being under the control of someone named Darius, the coup probably not even being possible at this point, maybe even the Mana disaster itself was used as a way to frame Saros and get him executed. That would be a pretty galactic inside plot just for the sake of a family struggle, but I am very interested in seeing where all of this is leading. We don't even know what is going on with Philip right now, even though Saros just got executed. We also know that Eris has two brothers that are in the capital, in the Notos family care right now, and I'm wondering if any of the characters we're seeing in this scene are those two. Regardless, we have something way more important, way more speculative to talk about in this scene, and it's this shot right here. No, I'm not talking about the blonde-haired cutie. I assume she's going to be important in her own way, but I am talking about this white-haired person obscured from view right in the center. Now, maybe this is a reach on my part, maybe I am crazy, but that looks like Sylphie's hair. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm just desperate to see her again, but that hairstyle looks almost identical to hers in a way that would make them concealing her face in this scene make much more sense. Now, your natural question might be, but Sylphie had green hair. Whoever this is has white hair. What's up with that? Well, we've known for a long time. In fact, we've been reminded every single episode that we've been on the Demon Continent that green hair attracts unwanted attention. You are naturally assumed to be a spirit. So I guess I'll just lay it all out here. I think Sylphie teleported in a way where somebody here, probably that blonde-haired girl, found her, brought her back to the Grey Rat family, dyed her hair white so she wouldn't cause any problems, and is now living among them for the time being for some unknown reason. I'm pretty confident that this is Sylphie. Maybe I will just look like a complete idiot in the future, but I am very excited to see where all of this is going, because if there's one thing Mushoku is really good at, it's laying groundwork, it's setting up fun foreshadowing that has cool payoffs in the future. That's been all from me though, guys. Let me know what you thought of this episode down below, and if you want to have a more in-depth discussion about this episode, or any of the episodes, or just anything in general really, you can join the Discord server linked down in the description below. Thank you all for watching, I hope you are having a great day, and I will see you in the next video.